clams? Where'd they come from? Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, can you do that when you're doing this live? But when I first came to this beach 20 years ago, they were a lot bigger. They were like this, a little bigger than this size. But there have been too many caught, too many collected for selling by others on the beach. So they're not, they're the smaller. So I actually feel guilty in killing these clams to eat. but I am admiring their coat of not many colours but many different patterns. Like it looks like a Japanese painting. These are just, may not be the best I've had, but still, look at this one. Looks like an African giraffe there. And they're just exquisite, and everyone is a different one, just like people are different, so clams are different. Oh, there's a few spurting in there. I have them in salt water, and they have been in there for 24 hours. So they're really fresh, right? And we're having a Canada Day celebration tomorrow, so what better thing to have than have something that you get right from a Canadian beach here at this beach, my beach, where it gives me great sanity. I just love being outside. Unfortunately, I'm at a computer most of the time trying to write books. Anyway, now we've got to steam the clams open.
There they go. Watch the destruction.
Oh, don't mention that word.
And we have a little bit of potato and carrot over here.
Now while they are steaming, I am going to cut up the vegetables. And I just use any vegetable I can find in the fridge. I'll have to see if there's any more left. I get anything. You can put in leeks, but I don't have any, didn't go today, onions. And I think I've cleaned everything out. And what I do is, because I don't eat broccoli, I mean I do if I have to, but I don't waste anything in my house. And so I cut off the broccoli stems and I cut them up very small and put them in the clam chowder as well. So it's kind of clam and vegetable chowder. And I don't put bacon in because I think baconing is kind of fattening. Oh, I'm wearing my Canada shirt.
Well, it might get you kicked off the bus.
Oh, we're going to have a book about that one day. I'm getting a picture of my messy cutting out here, you know. So I'm putting celery, potatoes, the ends of clams, or the ends of broccoli. Oh, yes, I've got some. I love broccoli. Broccoli is very good for you. But I don't put the broccoli in. I just use the. I don't think anybody else puts all this stuff in the clam chowder, but well, I do. I just believe in putting everything in. So, you know, the ends of it. I don't think I put greens. So it's onions, celery, and of course we put the this is like preparing for a picture, and we're showing the preparing. I wash all this, but you just don't like it look a mess. Oh, this is my favorite knife. This is the only knife I use. I tried to get it.
Okay, show me your knife.
It's a Chinese knife. And I use it for Chinese, Italian, Spanish, Mediterranean, Japanese, any food at all. I use a Chinese knife, you know. It's so much easier than any other knife. There's Boston and there's the other one.
Manhattan.
There's the milk one and there's the one with tomatoes.
Manhattan.
And the tomatoes. I might have forgotten the tomatoes. Yes, and I do the red one because I think tomatoes are healthier than milk. So I don't do. Is Boston the milk one? And Manhattan is the red one?
That's right.
And the other one's Manhattan? So
yes.
This will be called Manhattan Hancock. When they're open, then they're dead. And then... But I want to keep the clam nectar, because you need that.
How long have these been in here?
Oh, how long have the clams been in there? I've had them, well, they've only been in there about 15 minutes, but see, some of them open straight away and some of them take a little while. But I must make sure that I keep the clam nectar, because that's what makes the clam soup. Oh shit,
Let's see.
shoot.
You always want to do that too? That's what the towel's for.
Yeah, that's right, I put them there especially. That's right.
Exactly, there we go.
So all of these open because they're, whoops, don't waste the clam nectar.
Nope, don't be wasting that nectar.
So now I've got to put some more in. And I should get up with these. Get my salt water.
They turn a different color too.
Oh, they're just so pretty. It's like paintings. And they're all so different. And I don't know why some have different colours than the others. And they're genetics, I guess. Can you have a genetic in a clam chowder? Yes,
In a clam anyway.
Clam.
Genetics in the chowder as well. Depending on...
They get mixing of the genetics.
It's a family thing.
I better add a little bit of water. Fresh water.
You could take out the nectar and add more water, couldn't you?
Yeah, that's right. That's a good idea. So I make sure that nectar is not diluted. Great idea.
Right.
Great idea. I should have thought of that.
We're all helping
So now,
here in the kitchen.
Gotta make sure it doesn't land on the floor.
Well, what about, do you have a measuring cup or
I've
something?
got another one of these.
Yeah.
I've got another one of these. Oh, I thought I got a measuring cup.
Get that nectar out.
These are from Norway. I've had them for 60 years.
We'll see how... Oh, look at the nectar.
Yeah. You're the third person to hold the clams in.
Yeah, no, I'm just a camera person, so of course I can't be helpful. There we go, pure nectar. Look at pure nectar. And now we're adding more water.
I don't tell. I don't want to. I'll finish them up off the right way. Oh, it's the other one here. Because all of those, just maybe this one's good enough. Because all the shells have to go back on the beach. And I get oysters off this beach as well. Oysters off this beach as well, and I want to. You let them go back to the beach because I think they help to grow more oysters. So we have to.
And in this case, clams.
Oh yes, but clams and oysters, the same deal. The best to put that would be more scientific, wouldn't it? Put it like that. Yeah, more scientific. So yeah, what does one look like? Oh, that's a bit small. That's another bigger one. Yeah, so therefore, that's a whole animal that you eat. It's got that black foot on it. That's what it sticks up to get some air when at the low tide.
Sticks up its foot.
I'm calling it a foot. You're going to have to give me more.
Wow,
I have to learn my clam biology now.
I can see.
I didn't do any studying for this film, you know. This is just coming into the kitchen one Saturday
like that.
night.
The clam foot is what helps it breathe.
I used to know it all once.
Lynn is my teacher still.
Yeah, right.
It just goes to show you what crap you can teach kids if you want to. This is a clam foot. That's how they breathe.
Now, the idea was going to put is it more efficient to have, it is more efficient the other way, I think. Because this clams the shells in your hand. No, it's more efficient this way. The shells in your hand, and you go boom boom in there, and then that. Right, that's it, like this. Yep, that's an order. Shell goes
Shell.
there. Yep, and then
Body.
there, yeah, the shell and the body.
Body,
So,
yeah.
body and
With
shell.
foot and all.
The foot, the intestines, the heart, the lungs, the liver. What if they have all those? I'll have to do some study.
Uh-huh. I think we should have some comments here. I think people should comment. Anyone who knows about clams, please let us know. Lynn will be writing "There's a clam in my bathtub."
In my stomach, I think, tomorrow.
Clam in my stomach. Yeah, that's the new book.
There's many clams in my stomach tomorrow. You know, I wash my hands, but I'll make sure that people see me wash my hands, excuse me, because it's much easier with my hand, my finger. It's so small than me trying to do it with a spoon. So where's my...
What are you washing with?
I was washing it with, I had here.
Insecticide.
No, insecticide. Work. Okay, this is much faster to do it this way. Right? There. Now we can do it. And if they don't open, then you don't eat them because they might be dead. Happy Canada Day. What, July 1st? And here I am writing a letter to the interpreter at the Glenbow Museum because she wants to send me to send her the book, and I'm saying they should have it in the bookstore at the Calgary Heritage Park. Not the museum, the Calgary Heritage Park, because Jane, Grandmother Jane, Sam Livingston, the heroine in the book, that is her house, and Heritage Park in Calgary is on their land, their ranch, and where they raised their 14 children. And I can't understand they don't have a copy of the ring, but she did hear the staff recommend it, and so she just wrote to me to see if I would send it. So that's what I'm doing right now. When you popped in the office, I am sending the ring to her. But, you know, I talk too much. I talk a lot anyway. I hope it's not too much. But I've just sent her a letter, and I've just been saying, get it. You should be able to walk into the bookstore there and order it, not write me a letter and have me go down try to send it in the post on what, today? I don't think it will be open today, the post office anyway. So I'll have to do it later. But I am starting it and I have to finish it. But you know, you order one page and I think I'm on about page 5 or something like that to go in with it. No, I'm going to email it first. I started talking about how they make history alive, and you're an example of that, because in grade 6, where I met you in 1969, the great-grandchildren of Sam and Jane Livingston were in your class, the class I was teaching. And the first picture, you don't expect the first picture in a history book to be an ape, but that's kind of the story of my life. Here on page 12 is this girl and that girl are looking after Gypsy, the gibbon ape that was in the classroom with all of us for the whole school year. And Elizabeth and Marilyn Dowler are the great-grandchildren of Sam and Jane Livingston. And when they bring a ring to school and you ask who, where, when, what and why, the story of their great-grandmother comes and great-grandfather comes to be the first settlers in Calgary. Although I doubt that a lot of Calgarians know that. I sit on planes, you know, and I say, do you know Sam and Jane Livingston? No. Well, they're the first settlers of Calgary. And, oh, they are? And I said, yeah, there's a lot of places in Calgary that are named after them. The Heritage Park is not named after them, but that's their home, and people all know Heritage Park, they go there. And the kitchen in Heritage Park, in the big house, is where Jane entertained even royalty, not royalty, but Lord, forgotten his name, somewhere there. And and I said, there's Livingston School, and there's Livingston Fish Hatchery, and there's Livingston Twin Towers, and so on. And actually, Livingston School deserves an extra comment, because when I first gave a talk there in when it was a long time, in about 1986, yes, for the predecessor of this book called Tell Me Grandmother, which has only got one copy and it's in the living room. And I went in there and there was a picture of Sam. Now he's pretty. You can find a photograph of this guy when you go to the Calgary airport. He's got a cowboy hat on, he's got a long leather jacket made by his wife Jane, he's got a long beard, he's got golden hair. There was a picture of him in the school at Calgary. There it is. Okay, isn't he great? It's a bronze sculpture, and I don't think anybody going into that airport realizes who it is. Sam Livingston. Oh shit, it's got to be, no, I got to do it this way. Okay, I just did this stuff, I did this stuff last night. Cut all the vegetables up, and I couldn't find some Tabasco sauce. I thought, I've written a book called Tabasco the Saucy Raccoon, and I haven't got any Tabasco sauce. And when I first heard of Tabasco, first had the book come out, Mr. McElhenney of Tabasco sauce, he makes it in Louisiana. He sent me a dozen bottles, and that was when Raccoon and My Parker came out, and I used Tabasco to promote it. That was in a long time ago. And anyway, so then I found it in the other room in the presentation stuff that I take to schools. I have the box that I used to smuggle the raccoon with, and it's and Tabasco's named after the sauce, so that's where I found it. So you're supposed to put bacon fat in, but bacon fat to me is bad for you. I don't know, I just read it was bad for you. I've had this since my honeymoon, 19. I like orange. It comes from Norway, but I've still got them. It's because I like the colour. I've got to saute. I just want one dish. I'm just sort of picking up the onions. They have to do first. They should be separated, and then later you put the other stuff in. And then I add this, but I can't add it all now so why don't we go, because it's not ready to do it. I suppose I could, but I'm not going to. So why don't we I left this overnight, and I also left overnight all the clamshells, which I now want to return to the beach. So why don't we go down to the beach right now while this is, I'm going to turn it to low, not high, so it will be burned. That's the trouble with me. I cook and then I leave, and then the fire alarm sounds, so it's turned to low. So this is the clam, and that will make a really good. That'll be a bit better than a restaurant. Like a restaurant, you can't recognize that there's even a clam in the chowder you buy. And especially, I bought some clam chowder in a can, and that was unrecognizable. This will be recognizable. And then where's that? Oh no, I didn't put it in the fridge. We only room from the fridge. Here it is. This is look, we got a lot of clam nectar out of this. So this will be good. I won't just have to add plain old water. That's clammy water. Tomatoes. I love putting tomatoes in everything because of the colour. Food is very healthy. The more colourful the food, the healthier the food. So I like putting lots of colour in. So we've got I've obviously got so many vegetables that they feel like there's no room for the clams. So I managed to get so many vegetables. I'm going to make 2 pots of this. I do everything, 2 things at once. So I got hungry, so I put something in the microwave. And I was doing gardening yesterday, like 9 hours on one bed, and call it weeding gardening. And when I first came to this house 20 years ago, this place, it had the weed that grew was oregano, but in those days I called it oregano because that's how Australians say oregano. After 20 years or 50 years or however long I've been here, I've learned to say oregano like every other Canadian. But it's come back. So I'm going to go and put, instead of putting spices, oregano, all these spices and all these ones from Egypt, I'm going to go out to the garden and get some oregano. if I can recognise it after all this time. I never measure anything, as you can see. Worcestershire sauce, or Worcestershire sauce, as you're supposed to say. I have a friend, Barry, and he does a taste test. He says, Lynn, you should taste it all. Then you know about the spices. I put them in first and taste them later. Use nutmeg. You wouldn't think nutmeg in clams, would you? Salt and pepper I hardly ever use, but pepper's good for you, so I'll get some pepper. That was in the class that you and I were in. Gypsy and Joan, who's taking this film of Character Driven, she wrote a book on Little Gypsy. I love Gypsy, but that's another story, another film, another time. Black pepper. Oops, I think I had trouble. I better look first. Right, and get the whole, not the whole, not the whole, W-H-O-L-E, but the H, not the H, you know what I mean. Maybe a bit more. Pepper's good for you, isn't it? There's always one new spice on the block. You know, you get the emails and there's somebody Michael comes in every day with, don't you know if you have turmeric, you better have turmeric. And a friend of mine, Barry, says you've got to have lots of turmeric. So I went and got turmeric, which I've had from the 1960s, in this pile. No, it's pepper. Oh, I called it turmeric. I finished up having a whole bunch of turmeric from the 60s, and it was in a jar like this. And I finished that and threw it out, I think. But I got a pepper. I had this pepper, and I put it in there, what was left of it, and then got some more. Like this. This is about 50 years old too, but I know that spices can be 50 years old. I just read in a recipe that nutmeg too, so we have a bit of nutmeg. You'd think there'd be so many. Ooh, that's enough. I don't think I'll use the milk.
No. I think we'll just go down to the beach.
I'll put the clams in now, and I'll keep it on kind of low, and then the meld. But I think I've got so much in here. I think that I'll spread it out a bit, and then I can have it for longer because I freeze it. And you know, I don't do very much time in cooking. I just want to cook something and then eat it. The milk. Look at that. That was here. I haven't not thrown out.
Is it in the other room? In the other fridge?
Was it a small? No, wasn't it? Gotta be another saucepan, that colour around. You wouldn't expect a simple thing to turn into a drama, but it's my life. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do now, because I found the pot, and this had milk. This milk, when I say milk, I mean it has the juice, the nectar that the clam comes in. Oh, damn! And it didn't. And I don't know where I put it. Unless I put it in the clams anyway. Maybe I found it in the sink. How did it get into the sink? Well, maybe I put it in this morning when I first got up.
I'll bet you did.
And you know what I say? That's true. That's true. It's okay. It's okay. Because I've been doing so many different jobs, coming backwards and forwards since I started this last night, and this milk is in there. This is the real clam nectar